I cannot begin without saying a word about my Yedid Nafshi, Rabbi. He is indefatigable. He continues for Klal Yisrael like nobody that I know. He's a Yochid. He is. There's nobody like him. He's got a one-track mind, Klal. He doesn't get off it. I just want to say on him one little praise, small praise. Everybody knows, comes to be Vayivarech David. We all stand up. Everybody in the shul, we stand up. The great Gaon, Rabbi Yakov Kamenetsky, says, why you stand up for Vayivarech David? What's special about the tefillah? I said, Ashrei. Stand up for Ashrei. Why Vayivarech David? He says something fascinating. A lot of times in different shuls, they have the minhag that they collect tzedakah. Vayivarech David. V'ata Moshe Bakol. So they collect the money. Hashem has all of the ashiras. The person that goes around, the osek b'tzorchei tzibur be'emunah, the one that works for the klal, that's why we stand up. In his honor, in her honor, the person that does the mitzvah, osei mitzvah. Rabbi, I tell you from my heart, when you walk into a room, people should stand. We begin, it's a big topic, very big topic, positivity, keeping the right hashkafa, knowing how to frame things, world events, things that go on. Maisa b'Hillel HaZoken happened to be by Hillel the elder, Sheba miderech rechoka, he came from a distant land. V'shama kol tzvacha be'ir. He heard the crying, he heard screaming in the city. He didn't know who it was. All of a sudden, Omar, he said, Muftachani, shein zeh b'tov beiti. It's not in my house. I know it. I know for sure. Gemara and Brachos. Check it out. Samach Omid Aleph. Question is asked by several of the Mefarshim. Rav Tzvi Hirsch Levine, the great Rav of Berlin, asked the question, how did he know? How was he sure that it didn't come from his house? Fascinating answer. The reason is because Hillel HaZoken made sure that the people in his house were rogol. They were smart. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They knew that all the different matzavim, all the different situations in life, they had to keep it together. They had to make sure that they realize that everything is from Hashem. Mizrach shemesh ad mevorah. When the sun is shining, in the time when the sun goes down and it's dark outside, mehulol shem Hashem. We will praise Hashem. Hillel knew that would not be their reaction, even if the tzara, even if the challenge was in their house. They would not scream, they would not cry. They would daven, they would pray, they would contemplate hisbodedus, they would be deep in thought, but they would not scream. And so too, for all of Klal Yisrael, and especially in the days that we are right now, this is our reaction. Tefillah, prayer, coming together, Ishal Reyehu, to be mechazek each other. That is the single greatest power that will help in Eretz Yisrael, that will help protect the chayalim, the chayalot, that will help bring back the hostages bimheira, take up miyad, each one safe and sound. What will help? Positivity. What will help? Praying to Hashem, ha-mitzvah, tzedakah, hafrashat chala, all the things, all the learning in the Tehillim, all the things that we do. That's what greatly helps. I have to share with you, I got a call on Erev Shabbat. It was unbelievable. There was a couple that called me. They have a son, 2 sons in fact, in the army. They called me up in the beginning. Rabbi, could you say some Tehillim? Could you keep them in mind? We want to give you their names. I said, okay. They gave me their names. They gave me other names. And they said, please. I said, I promise you. I promise. Yossi, Chani, you have my word. I get a call. He was in the tank. Kobe, the son of Chana. He was in the tank. The tank was hit. It began to fill up with smoke. They couldn't go because they couldn't get to the hatch to open it up. There was no air. They don't know what to do. All of a sudden, they realized they were being shot at. On the top, they could not go out the top of the tank because it was sakonas nefashos. They had no idea what they could do. All of a sudden, from nowhere, was not supposed to be on that particular stretch of land, another tank joins. Fires at the one that was firing at Kobe's tank. Was able for a moment to create a diversion. The commander in the tank hurried out, went around, opened the hatch, was Moser Nefesh, saved their lives. The guys inside, unfortunately, when they were running, they got hit, shrapnel. So they went to ruins and they stayed there for a while until people from the Tzahal could come and save them and take them to an ambulance that took them to 2 different hospitals. And they were able successfully to get everything out. One person had some in his back. They had to operate. But I got the beautiful news that they're going to say Hagomel. I said, you must take a picture of that Berchus Hagomel. They said, Rabbi, if you tell us to do it, we'll do it, but it's going to be on Shabbos. Okay, in that case, you don't have to take it. The unbelievable thing is, I get a call this morning. As soon as Kobe can go back in, he's going to go right back exactly where he was in the beginning. They just asked me, could you keep up the tefillot? I said, I'll keep it up from my side, but I'm not sure that's exactly what was the deciding factor here. That's positivity. That is looking in the correct lens. Because if a person does not look with the correct lens, they look with their own feeling, they look with their own perception, they could be far off from what is correct. Hashem Yisbarach says, Kishem shetzorech ha'adam lahamin b'kadosh baruch hu, just like you and I have to have emunah shalem in Hashem, in all that Hashem says in the Torah, in everything that is written in all the animamins. So too, says Rav Tzadok HaKohen, each and every one of us, tzorech achar kach lahamin ba'atzmo, we have to believe in ourselves, in our own koach. It's extremely important that we frame things in the right way, that we realize what Hashem wishes us to see. I could be scared, I could be upset. However, if I say before I go to sleep or when I wake up in the morning, Biyadcha avki ruchi, Hashem, I trust you. My spirit is in your hands. I'm with you. Hashem Yisparach, you're in charge of my life. I have complete bitachon, complete emunah, that whatever is going to happen, and it should always be good for all of Klal Yisrael, I trust it. Simple mashal. Everyone, we're going to Eretz Yisrael sooner or later, hopefully sooner, everybody. We're going, right? I want to know if anybody, before you go on the plane, it's a big trip, before you go on the plane, do you interview the pilot? Do you ask the pilot for their experience? You get their resume. Do you see where they went to school? How many years they've been flying? What their ability is in air? And if they've ever been trained, did you see them? Did you talk with them? Did you make sure they're up that day, had a good night's sleep before? Do you interview? I mean, basically, you're in their hands for how many hours it will take. I went to Australia. It's a long time to be in somebody's hands, right? No, we trust them. Emunah, bitachon. The same thing when we come to Hashem in our life. No worries, no upset. Biyadcha avki ruchi. Hashem, I put myself in your hands. Take good care of me. Everybody, we have that emunah. We have that bitachon, that Hashem is watching and sim leiv to each and every one of us. I don't know, it's an interesting idea. a person never knows what their perception is. Rav Galinsky was once walking past an institution people never, they didn't have it together, not bishlemus mentally. So there were two people in the institution, it was in Europe, and two Yidden, they call Rebbe, come to the fence, come over here. They're incarcerated in the institution. They are Nebuch inmates, they can't get out. So he goes over, he says, says, Rebbe, it is the biggest simcha that we get to see somebody Jewish. There's no one from Bnei Israel in the institution, nobody at all. It's an unbelievable zechus that we can talk with you, we can hear a Yiddish word, a Jewish word. Oh, he begins to speak to them, and he says, you should know, the reason that we're here is really the false reasons people put us in here. They had us locked up. We are sane, we are perfect like everybody else. It's Rachmanis. There's nobody to talk to. Could you be mishtadel on our behalf? Rav Galinsky said, Hatzolos nefashos, I got to help them. They're in the institution. He begins to take down the name and who they are and the address and everything else. And he says, okay, I'll be mishtadel, I'll try. One of them said, well, Rabbi, please, you got to hurry up. Because every minute that I'm in here, you're holding back the geula. You're holding back the redemption. Rabbi Glyn says, what do you mean? He says, well, I'm the Mashiach. And you see that as long as I'm in here, I can't save Klal Yisrael. Rav Galinsky began to see. All of a sudden, the other guy said, he is not. I'm telling you, he is not. I know that he isn't. He is not Mashiach. Rav Galinsky said, how do you know he's not Mashiach? Maybe he is. The guy says, because I'm the Ribono Shel Olam. Sometimes person has to keep the clear perception. Who am I? Who is Hashem? We have a certain amount of ability. We have great kochot, great yicholos. We all do, each one of us. But we have to know the way that we utilize it and that we ask everything. We ask Hashem. Every bit of koach that we have, when we're matzliach, we know it's Hashem. Lo b'chayim, lo b'koach. Only with Hashem's ruach are we matzliach. A very fascinating idea. If you take a look in the parsha, there is something that is, for me, one of the most moving parshiot in the Torah. One of the most. Parshas Miketz, Parshas Vayigash. So what happened? Yehuda asked Yosef, right? Yehuda said, listen, Binyamin is a problem. If we're going to take Binyamin down here, it's going to be a problem. My father has gone through a lot. Yakov Avinu went through so much. He went through all kinds of things, and the Yosef HaTzadik was taken from him, and begins to say, please, just do a swap. Let me stay. Let me stay. Let me not take Binyamin. Please, do a swap. So he says the following, Ki avdecha arav esanar. I took responsibility for Binyamin. I took responsibility. I would like to ask everybody, the unbelievable members of the Young Israel, Chashuvim, everybody, how's it possible to take Achrayas, Egypt, Paro, locked up, a couple of Yidden walking around in the home Mitzrayim, and he's going to take responsibility. No matter what happens, he's going to bring Binyamin. How could he take responsibility? How could he take Achrayas? That's like I would come and I would say, take Achrayas, whatever needs to be done right now in the army, I'm going to cover all the expenses. Can't take Achrayas. Fascinating. The Avnei Nezer says, when a person takes Achrayus, they are given kochos l'mayla min hateva. A person that will take responsibility will have siyata dishmaya more than they could do through natural means, just by taking Achrayus. You think about it. A lot of things happen where we start to wonder, about, could I take achrayus? They need a minyan. Can you come to minyan? What time's minyan? 7. I tell you the truth, sometimes I sleep in. I'm not sure I can give you my word on that. Can you help us out? We want to go. I don't know if I'm going to be in town that day. I could be. I could call you up. Take achrayus. Take responsibility. The person that takes responsibility, they will be zocheh to get everything in this world. They will be zocheh that they'll be matzliach. They're going to be successful because they took achrayus. You take something like things that we want to help out in Eretz Yisrael. Who doesn't think constantly about the hostages? Norva ayom, take a hostage, a baby, separate that Eshes Chayil from her husband. She said, I'll stay in prison. Don't separate me. Don't free me. I'll stay right here. He's a gevura. It's tremendous. I'll stay here. They wouldn't let her. Rishayim. Klosenberger Rebbe said, Hamas, previous Klosenberger Rebbe, Hamas is worse than the Nazis. You can take a look at his sikha, and I don't have to comment on the Rebbe's words. They wouldn't permit him. They would not permit her. She is the one that when she came out, stared in the face of her captors and gave them a look that everybody in the entire world saw. She didn't wave goodbye. She didn't smile. She stared straight in their face and gave them a look. Eizeh gvura, and that's chus alone. They should all be freed. So you think, how could I help? I want to help the hostages. I want to help. I want to do my part. The Rav Shlita and I were just talking before about various ways that possibly a person could help. But you think, but the hostages, but it's a thing, Quaitar and this place and the diplomats and all kind of thing. You know what? I tell you the truth. I would rush the doors. I'd come in. I would love to go to the negotiating meeting. I have a few things I would like to say. They may not want to hear me, but I sure would like to say a few things. But what could we do? What's our yecholes? Take achrayus. We may see it in a different way. Years ago, the Tsar Nikolai, made a decree, took children, hostages, put them into the army from a young age, never returned them home. And every once in a while, they would do their rishus, they would do their evil deeds and grab somebody from the street. There was one woman, an almana, lo aleinu, a widow. She had a little boy, and she didn't have money. She was forced to go from door to door to raise money, to get money, to feed, to put clothing on the little boy. And she was walking around. The army came. They had their instructions to bring a number of the boys back. They saw this mother, easy mark, with the boy. They grabbed him out of her hands, and that was it. What is she going to do? He's done. He's hostage. A hostage that may never return. So she cried to herself. However, that Shabbos, the great tzaddik, Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the father of the Musar movement, came to town. She don't know who Rabbi Yisrael Salanter is. She's more of a simple person. But when she saw the Hadras Ponim, when she saw Chochmas Adam Toyer Ponim, the Chochma shining out of his face, she realized that this is a Gavra Rabbah, this is somebody great. And she ran over to him and she said, please, Tzaddik, help me, my child. And she began to tell him what happened. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter listened to her story and said, okay, I will try whatever I can do. When Rabbi Yisrael Salanter takes achrayus, he takes achrayus, he takes responsibility. It's not words, it's responsibility. Friday night, beautiful davening. Friday night, everybody, they were so enthusiastic, davening together with Rabbi Salanter. Nothing bigger than that in the world. And everybody was excited, everybody was singing, and it was beautiful. Rabbi Salanter didn't say a word. He waited for the right time. Shabbos morning, Ezet Tfilos. Everybody came and everybody wanted to be together with him. Everyone watch him and everyone to get next to him and sit next to him, shake his hand. They made a beautiful kiddush for him after in one of the big homes. And Rabbi Salanter, in his honor, everybody came. He made kiddush. Everybody heard his kiddush. After the kiddush, he stood up. They realized he wanted to say some words. So he said to them, you are Ganovim. Remember, Rabbi Salanter never raised his voice, never said a word that wasn't beautiful, pure, nice, gentle. Derech Eretz. He said, you are all Ganovim. You are all Rotzchim, murderers. Each one of you, a Gonev Nefesh. Each one of you, a kidnapper. And he began to explain, you're careful, you eat matzah shmura, highest level, it's got to be certain hashkacha, you won't eat it. Esrog mehudar, you're looking with the loop, like it's a diamond, to make sure, even though 100% it's kosher anyhow, but you'll puzzle it up 10 times. Oh, you want to be sure. But kol almana v'yosem lo sa'anun, every yosem and almana don't cause pain. That you're not so careful in Hidr Mitzvah. That you're not watching so much. They're going to be Isha Machro. And when they kidnap somebody and they sell him, V'nimtza biyodamos yumas, and it's found in his hand, the guy has the death sentence. That you're not so careful about. Oh, other mitzvahs you choose and you pick. Well, I want to tell you something. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter does not remain in a city with kidnappers, with thieves, with rotzchim. I am leaving. Shabbos. Heilige Shabbos. He walks out. He leaves the city. Outside the city. Maaseh Shahaya. They were in an uproar. You got a guest like Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, and he leaves. It's not simple. Somehow, they were able to make the right connections, and they got the boy back. Only when they went to tell Rabbi Yisrael Salanter outside the city that the boy was back, did he agree to come back. When he came back, the mother of the boy was waiting for him with the little boy. When Rabbi Yisrael Salanter came there, she fell at his feet. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter asked some ladies, please pick her up. This is not how Rabbi Yisrael Salanter is. Mi yodea. I could help, I can't help. There's a certain amount we could do, there's a certain amount we can't do. A person can do a tremendous amount. We are shlichim of Hashem. We are b'tselem Elokim nivra ha'adam. I can't say lashon hara on another person. Everybody knows. We know the dinim. You've learned it. Probably doing more learning than I am, but you learn the shmiras halashon, right? Not allowed to say it. But you know what Chavetz Chaim says? Why I can't say lashon hara? Not only because it's not nice, because each one of us is a tselem Elokim, is the image of God. I'm going to say lashon hara on you. Ha! I say lashon hara on the Borei Olam. I say lashon hara on Hashem. Every person has a little bit of Hashem inside of us. That is the koach that we have been granted from Hashem. That koach, a positivity of the way to look at others, of the way to look at ourselves, is what guides us through our entire life. That a person should never allow things to get them down, never allow themselves to, chas v'sholom, to be miyayish, never to think in any way that the situation is gone, hopeless, that boy will never come back, he'll never be a good student, She's off the derech, forget about it. Don't worry, there's some people that stay on the derech, other people go off the derech. This person never made a penny in his life. He's a lo yutzlach, he'll remain a lo yutzlach. Who says? Miya yosher miya yoni. Who, you got the right to say it? Then correct your machzor on Yom Kippur. Each one of us has the ability in one moment. This marriage, I want you to know, there's certain marriages that are okay, but this who says? Who says? Rei mahuvim. Beloved friends. So beloved friends is on a different level. Everyone is Rei mahuvim. Hashem came to each one of our chuppahs. Hashem blessed us. The great Halicha Shlomo, when it came to a wedding during the month of Elul, he was afraid to look up. Shechina was under the chuppah. When they called him for bracha, he used to look down. He was afraid to look up. Shechina's there. There is nothing that is beyond a person's ability in this world. I would like to quote to you for just one moment from the Mesilas Yesharim. Mesilas Yesharim from the Khal says that no matter where a person is at in life, no matter what an individual is currently going through, whether they are going through a time of great simcha, whether they are going through a time of challenge, chalila sadness, whether it's a time of riches, whether it's a time of poverty, whether it's a time of upset, whether somebody is bothering them, whether they have some source of agmas nefesh, of pain in their life. He says there is not a period of time, does not matter what it is, that a person cannot see the wonders of Hashem if they will open up their eyes. Mesilas Yesharim, Ramchal. No matter what the time, no matter when it is, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter how bleak, a person merely needs to open up their eyes. I would like to comment just about the emunah factor in being positive. A lot of good examples about positivity. A lot of examples that are important on basically in every area of life. When a person thinks good, when an individual knows that tefillah is for us. The Yalkut Shmoni says that the reasons why things happen in our life is that a person should be mispalel, that we should pray. So sometimes I think that maybe this is above prayer. Maybe I'm not that great of a davener. Maybe I don't say all the tefillahs like I should. Maybe I'm not the holiest person. I did a few averos. Few. Not me personally. Other people do averos. I don't. But just should know that there is no cheshbon in Shemayim. A person could do averos. Everybody does. A person could do it. Their davening is their davening. Their tefillah is their tefillah. Rebel Yisvei said one time, if you take a look and you see, I don't know in West Hempstead, but on Coney Island Avenue, there's a few blocks. You go out during a certain hour of the night, you got all the carpets out, you got the rebellious face says you don't know what their prayers are doing. You don't know what their prayers are doing. Imagine the tefillahs from Bnei Yisrael, from us. A person prays. The davening that we do is so great. The davening that we do can make the difference in Khal Yisrael. The davening we do can make a difference in our own life. A lot of times we say, "Ma yoel tefillati," what's my prayers going to help? Maybe I'll go to the Rav and I'll ask him. Maybe I'll go to somebody who's great and I'll ask him, but my davening, what's my prayer? We say exactly the opposite. Say a tefillah. Say your own tefillah. Rabbi Nachman Mehuman says, doesn't matter. Make it up. Say what you want. Talk to Hashem. Go out. Say to Hashem everything that you want and express it, but express it with positivity. Say, Hashem, I know you're the Kol Yachol. You can do it. You have the ability. Yad Hashem Tiktzar, is the hand of Hashem ever too short? Never. Hashem can make a way out of nowhere. Hashem can help even at the time when we think that it is an impossibility. That's the emunah that we live through life. That's the ability that we have to call upon Hashem in every single circumstance, no matter where we're at. Interesting, Shaila in the Chassam Sofer. Chassam Sofer says, what happens if you have a person that doesn't have money? A poor man, lo aleinu. Everybody should have daiva hoiser, a lot of money. Poor person comes over, he wants to borrow $1,000, $2,000. So he goes to a person who has means and he says, could I borrow $2,000? The guy looks at him. He probably doesn't have $10 in his pocket and he wants to borrow $1,000. Someone asks the Chassam Sofer, are you allowed to borrow or are you allowed to lend? You're allowed to lend a person that money. What happens if he can't pay back? Lifnei iver lo sitei michshu. You can't set him up. He can't pay back. He becomes someone that doesn't pay back. We have names for that. But are you allowed to? Chassam Sofer says it depends when, but ulai a person could. Why? Because there's nothing that says that the person that's today's poor man or poor woman, tomorrow they could be very wealthy. Tomorrow they could have tremendous amount of money. Who's to say? Our emun and our bitachon is positive. We take every single thing that happens in life. You have a child grows. We're positive about it. We'll only say the correct things that will bring him or her to the higher level. It's so important. You know, a little girl showed me her report card. I got to tell you, report cards, we could save it from a different time, but standardized testing and standardized grading, and it's a schmooze by itself. The little girl came to show me the report card in shul. It was the cutest thing. I don't know how old she is. She showed me the report card. So instead of the A's and the B's, they put smiley faces. A beautiful thing, little smiley faces, like you get 3 smiley faces. I wish I got some smiley faces. We won't go into it. But anyhow, she shows it to me. So she says, I got 3 smiley faces in that area, but I only got 2 smiley faces in the other area. I didn't know whether she chapped that it meant that she didn't get the grade that she could have gotten. I didn't say anything. I was quiet. When she went out with the older brother, I asked the father, does she understand what it is if you got 2 or 3? He said, I was hoping that she didn't, and she doesn't. Positivity. That child does their best. They deserve 4. Bring it 4. That child, give him 5. Give me 2. Your brain, thinking. Not everybody's Einstein. Not everyone's Rabbi Kiva. Not everyone's Rebbetzin Kanievsky. What does it mean when a person scores? Positive. You're going to be great. Shmuel b'dairoi, right? Each person, according to their own abilities, according to their own situation, according to their own matzav. That's positivity. That's when we look at everybody and we see their own kochos. We see the ability that they have to bring something out in themselves. That is great. I would like to say that if you take a look at Yosef HaTzadik, Yakov Avinu, no greater example in the entire world than both for emunah, for bitachon, positivity. Look what happened. Yosef HaTzadik, look where he's at. Look where he spent his time. Did he say one word? Did he say one word when he was reunited with Yakov Avinu? No. He's living in Mitzrayim. He was put into slavery. He was put into the board. They were going to kill him. He was saved. He was not mesugel to be a slave to the Ishmaelim. He was not mesugel to be in the avi avot tumah, the impurity of Mitzrayim. He was not mesugal. Believe me, you don't take a tzaddik like that out of the base medrash and put him in the depths somewhere. Yaakov Avinu, all the time. Yaakov Avinu went through all the tsar, the agmas nefesh. Bikesh Yaakov, leishev b'shalva. He just wanted a few moments of peace and tranquility. Hashem, give me a little bit easy time. Give me a little downtime. No, Hashem said it's not meant for you. Look what he went through during his life. Look at this son that he had to be separated with all the years. And they came, chaya roa chalosu, a wild animal ate him. I have to think about that. That's the thought. That's a machshava. That Yaakov Avinu should have all the years. Unbelievable. When finally they were all meeting back together, so you know the story. What happens is, Yosef HaTzadik falls on his shoulder, Yaakov Avinu falls on his shoulder, Yosef HaTzadik cries, Yaakov Avinu says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Question? All the Mefarshim ask, why Dafka at this moment, specifically at this moment, he had to say Kriya Shema? Chazal tell us that Yaakov Avinu was Mekabel Be'emunah Shalema. He had complete faith in whatever happened. He said, all the 22 years I was inside, the 22 years I was burning inside, 22 years. But now it was revealed that there was a cheshbon min hashamayim, that there was a reason for it. A mikra ba'alma. There is no happenstance. There's no just something happened, coincidence. There is no coincidence in the world. Everything is ba'ashkocha pratis. And he said, now it was revealed to me that Yosef was a Mishnah L'melech, that he's going to save Khal Yisrael. He's going to save the world. Now I can understand. So that's the reason he said Kriya Shema. Because when we say Kriya Shema, we cover our eyes. We realize that we do not know what happens in the world. We realize that everything is Be'emunah Shalema. We realize that we don't have asaga, we don't have a grasp of all that is going on. And maybe when we cover our eyes, it's also dark. Emunos Chabalelos, darkness. We need to have great faith. However, when he saw all the hashgacha, that's when he chose to say Shema, because it all came together. And listen to the words. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Midas Rachamim, Elokeinu Midas Adin, the divine attribute of strict justice. Hashem Echad. It's all one. Yaakov Avinu said, it's all one. That's why he wanted to be Mamlich Hashem at that very moment. The same in our own lives. Am Yisrael goes through this now. I had a lady, wonderful lady. I met her in the Rockland Community College. They brought me up for a special series. As a woman, and the lady, very little background, very Jewish, but little background in terms of Jewish education. And she keeps in touch. She is learning little by little. The woman, grandmother, she is taken with the war in Israel. She cannot get away. I had told her, you cannot be pilled to the device. You can't watch. It's too much. You can't do it. Every day she's worried about it, and she's worried about it. And I tried to text back. I'm not great into texting, but I try to text back to give her some words of chizuk. However, we should know that even the time that we are living through now is a time of greatness. Mira Shamayim, we don't even realize the things that are going on in this world. We don't know how much we are moving closer to the time of Achris Hayamim. We don't know what the Chevlei Mashiach look like right now. We're hearing from every side Mesiras Nefesh from every Chayal, Mesiras Nefesh of the hostages that are there, and the families. There's no greater families in the world. Look at Klal Yisrael. Look at them. Anyone would crack, Chas v'sholom. Anyone would be crying and on the floor, and they're out being mechazik other people. It's a Mika Amchas. It's an amazing thing. So, one of the organizations, and there are so many that are doing unbelievable work. I saw a picture of Ari giving out in the troops. Eze chizuk. Zaka, organization that helps in the times that are not so happy of bringing all that is necessary to kever Yisrael and to ensure the sanctity of anybody that was nereg al kiddush Hashem, to make sure that every little bit is taken in and there is nothing that belonged to anybody, any of the Kedoshim that is left behind, and it's given the proper covenant, proper dignity. So there was another member of the Zaka organization that was called to kibbutz be'eri, to do what they call the removal of all the debris and things that might have any trace of the Kedoshim. He worked there for days and days and days. Came home one night after days of watching, seeing the scene that a person should never see in their whole life. He sees it every day, nightmare, replaying, every day, chalamos roim, every day. One night he goes to sleep, and he has a dream. Chalom cholamti, ufoy serein, no one to interpret it. A woman who they brought to Kever Yisrael that day comes to him and says, there are 4 other people that were nereg al kiddush Hashem, and they are there in the same spot where you got me, and they are waiting to be brought to Kever Yisrael. He wakes up, cold sweat. Dreams speak falsehoods. That doesn't mean anything. After this guy, what he saw in his eyes, he shouldn't dream. He's not going to have nightmares. He's not going to have terror at night. Of course he's going to have it. He went back to sleep, disregarded it. Next night, didn't tell anybody. Next night, same dream. The woman comes to him and said, I'm the woman that you brought to Kfura. I'm telling you that there are 4 people in that area. They are waiting in Shamayim. They are waiting for them. They're waiting for them to come to their Makom Menucha. He wakes up again. Now I had the dream once, so I'm going to have the dream a second time. He disregarded it. He disregarded it. The third night, it repeated. The third night she came to him and she said, I am begging you on behalf of the Nefashos. They have asked me to beg you. Please, in Shemaim they are waiting. I will show you where they are buried. In the dream, she took him behind the house, in the chotzer, in the courtyard. There was a big stack of leaves and debris and all kinds of objects. Underneath, she points with her finger, underneath are those people. This time, Chazaka, he couldn't deny it. He get up, he went himself. The area was closed off, it was sealed, it was dangerous. Goes to the officer in charge, the officer said, you can't go. He said, I'm Zaka. He said, you can't go, I don't care who you are. I'm Zaka. He kept saying, there are people there that we didn't get. He said, you did all your work that you needed to. You don't need to have any more work. You're not going to go back. He says, I have to. Finally, he was afraid to tell over the dream. He shouldn't be looked at like somebody who's, needs to go to for help. He tells the officer, I'm telling you, I had a dream. The dream was very clear. The officer said, you had a dream? I have chalamot too. No. It's bothering me. The officer said, I tell you what, I don't know if you're crazy or if you had a dream. I'll go with you. The officer came together with him. They went to the courtyard. Exactly where the lady pointed out there were leaves and debris, and they began to move them and move them and move them away. Underneath, there was a wood. Under the wood, they found 4 Kiddushim that were brought to Kfura. Mi yodea. Who knows? The days that we're currently living. Who knows? Yaakov Avinu was makabel upon himself. The Malchus Shamayim. When he saw Yosef, he was makabel. He was accepting upon himself that emunah, that in life everything that happens, no matter what, is min hashamayim. After all that has gone on within the past months, all the good, all the tzitzits that are being worn, the tefillin, hafroshas challah, hadlokas neiros. One woman, she was in the kibbutz. She looked out the second story. She saw the Rishoim coming down the street. She realized what's going on. She heard the gun, she heard the fire. She had 2 little children. She looked out the window. She knew she's finished. Completely not religious, irreligious. She said, Borei Olam, save my children. I'm their mother. Save me. Ani mavtiach, I promise you, I will light candles for the Shabbat. But save me so I can be a mother to the children. Who knows the power of a Kabbalah? Nobody came into her house. The next week, they made a reception for her in the place where they settled her. Over 500 women came to see her light hadlokas neiros with a shechianu for the first time in her life. We are a nation that lives with positivity. That will get us through the current time. And Be'ezer Hashem Yisparach, I got no question, Samchenu kimo sinisanu, that we will be happy and we will be besimcha as the days that we were afflicted. Just want to be Messiah B'dover Toiv to my good friend. You are a matriarch, a patriarch, all in one now. Continue to lead the family. Continue to do your job. We all look up to you in good health and in happiness. Be'ezer Hashem Yisparach. We'll all be reunited in the future. B'kitzi Rananu Shach Ne'afar. Besuros Tovos for everybody.